The binding agent, a substance that helps ingredients stick together, improving texture, preventing separation, and enhancing the overall structure of food products. Kevon Looney, the binding agent for a basketball team, something the Pelicans desperately need, right? And with their luck, Looney will probably end up playing 30 minutes a night for the Pelicans, the way things are going down there. But I understand why they would add him, just because they need that. Every team needs a binding agent. And Kevon did a rare interview with none other than Marcus Thompson on the Plus Minus podcast, where, Slater, y'all hear the news. Slater is off to ESPN. So M2 and TK, holla at your boy. If you need a scorer off the bench, you know where to find him. But it was a really good interview. And again, we don't hear from Kevon often, but in his departure, he sat down with Marcus and, he spoke about the Warriors and how they lowball offer players, and that's how they operate, right? That was maybe the first thing that came out. And listen, I know we're all frustrated as a fan base right now as far as no moves have been made, but that's negotiating. Like, you don't want an organization that bids against themselves. And, like, for instance, the Wolves are a team that have bid against themselves, and they kind of just give guys their contract with no seeming negotiation. Now, a negotiation is just that. It can go south, but I don't know about you. I want the teams that I root for to negotiate, and especially in this new CBA. So, yeah, the money, I'm not surprised that that's how they operate, and I think we already knew that.
You had a lot of kind words for Steve in the Players Tribune.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because obviously nobody wrote for you like Steve, because there's times everybody else was like, get him out the game, and Steve's like, I'm rocking with him.
I just know it's never personal with Steve. He's gonna do whatever he thinks is best to try to win with the lineups, because it ain't just me. He done did it to everybody. So if it had been just me that was happening to, maybe I bet it might be the one happened to probably the most, because I was here the longest. But I done seen him do it to, my first couple of years, I watched Zaza start every game when we was number 1 or 2 seed, and he just benched him for no reason. I seen it. I seen most Space sit on the end of the bench mad, but he put him back in the playoffs, and he showed up. I seen it. You hear all the stories about Andre being a starter his whole career and coming off the bench. Like, all these different things I was able to see and really learn from. So I know it ain't personal. It ain't no attack on you or your game. He really just trying to win. And, can't be mad, because the results show that it usually works. So, even when you mad at home or you kind of pissed about it, like, no, should be won. Can't be too mad.
Bruh.
That was the whole goal. So when it play out that way, it's all right, well, I guess he was right.
It's not personal. He does it to everyone. I just happened to be there the longest, so it happened to me the most. Not everyone's as pragmatic as Kevon. That's why we love him, right? But I think the key here is it's not personal. Steve does what he thinks is best for the team, what he thinks will win. And that's the root of a good coach. Because believe it or not, in the NBA and in all of pro sports, there are a lot of coaches on teams, coaching teams, that don't operate that way. Because of the politics behind the scenes, because of the power dynamic, they're not making decisions on what they truly think will be best to win, but rather what will make people happy, whether that's the general manager, the owner, or the star players. And Steve is in a position where he can truly make those decisions. And again, that's the root. You need that in a coach. Now, where we can have a conversation is, what does he think is best? Right? What does he think is best? Is he too stubborn and stuck in his ways? Yeah, he is probably, right? But you get it. You get it. You're dealing with two of the most unique players to play the game in Steph and Draymond, and he's going to ride that till the wheels fall off. You understand it? But yes, he is. And then when you talk about he can't develop young players, he doesn't develop young players, well, why would he? He's never been in a position to, right? Like, he takes over for Mark, and right away they're contenders. And even as a player, all he did was compete for chips. So developing players is not in Steve Kerr's paradigm, right? Or I get it's frustrating. We're all frustrated with the whiffs and the picks and how it's gone down, but that's just the reality of the situation. Now, can he adapt? He's not going to change. I think that people look at this a little bit wrong. And I know that there'll be people in the comments that are just done with Kerr and they want a new coach. And look, I get that's the right of being a fan, right? You can feel how you feel. But I think Steve deserves, in a lot of ways, the same grace that we need to give Steph and Draymond in their twilight. And the reality is he's not going to change at this point. He's an older coach in the twilight of his career. He's accomplished everything. Why would he change, right? Like, they're going to go out doing what they do. And I think as a fan base, as frustrating as it can be, it's all perspective and it's all relative. And if you started following basketball and the Warriors during this run, I get where it's harder to see, to have a bigger scope on this. But we got 4 of them things. Like this, they're going to go out how they want to go out, and they've earned that. And that includes Steve Kerr, as frustrating as it might be. But yeah, a great interview from Marcus Thompson on the Plus Minus podcast. I encourage you to go listen to the whole thing. But that's my take on it. And I know people, again, it's such a hot button topic, and the line in the sand has been drawn with people that just hate Kerr. And then the people that push back, all I can do is give you my opinion on it as objectively as I can. He frustrates the hell out of me sometimes. But again, I also think he's earned the right to go out how he wants. And the proof is in the pudding. And ultimately 4 championships and riding these 2 unique players, you get it. You get it. Like, why wouldn't he? You know what I'm saying? Now, there's other news as we sit here and wait for something to happen. Do something meme, right? Marcus Smart gets waived by, where was he at? In Washington? Washington has done some interesting things. They're going to be a fun team to watch. I like a lot of their young players. Did you see Sarr looking like a young Anthony Davis in Summer League defensively? Not offensively, but defensively. Like, he is a gifted rim protector, and he moves very well in space. But I digress. Marcus Smart gets waived, and what do you know? Lakers. Lakers going to get him. Lakers going to get him. Not so fast. They waived Shake Milton as of this morning, and they still don't have the cap space to make it happen, right? If that doesn't happen, are the Warriors an option for Marcus Smart? Like, the last time I remember seeing Marcus Smart play, he rolled up on Steph's ankle. No, he got out of shape in Memphis, and it never worked out. On paper, it made a lot of sense when Memphis acquired him. It was like, oh, grit grind, like what they're doing, that'll fit perfectly. Josman, and it just never worked out there. Back to Washington, and now he is a free agent and a guy that obviously, I'd given originally, it was kind of a comp for Pods. Now, is he going to be the on an island point of attack defender like Marcus Smart? No, but just that type of impact of a third guard that can, a toolsy, junkyard dog of a third guard in Marcus Smart in Pods, similar in that way. Yeah, of course, I think the Warriors should be interested. Is Marcus Smart interested? He hasn't proven to stay healthy. He hasn't been durable at this stage in his career. He gets overweight, and then his playing style lends itself to injuries. So I don't know. But I think maybe what's more interesting to me is what I read this morning. The Lakers are trying to move Dalton Connect and Maxi Kleber to acquire Marcus Smart, to be able to sign him. Now, maybe the Warriors have hopes of signing Marcus Smart, so they don't want to facilitate that. But I had brought this up about a week or so ago during the California Classic when we watched Lakers, Warriors, and I watched. The Lakers were always on Summer League. I mean, everyone played on Summer League, but they're always a primetime game because of Bronny. And I spoke on Dalton Connect and how he just lacks confidence. He is a bucket. But what I don't see is that unflappable confidence that you need to be a shooter in the NBA. Is it a shark's memory? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, right? You got to have a memory like a shark. Is it a shark? Is it a fish, a goldfish? Basically, you got to have a short memory as a shooter. And I always use Clay as the greatest example because it's like, that's the separator. A lot of these, we see these highlights in the offseason, 70 made threes, right? So 80 made threes in a row. Like, pro shooters can do that. The difference, the separator with the elite NBA shooters is in game. Clay, these elite guys, they don't care if they miss 5 or 6 shots in a row. They're going to shoot the 7th like it's the first. And Dalton Connect doesn't have that mindset yet. And then the balked trade in the midseason probably hurt that even more. And then you look at Luka and LeBron and the pressure of shot making with those two on the floor. That's a tough scenario for him. So I think the Lakers understand it because clearly they're trying to move off him. But the point I'm trying to make is he may be a diamond in the rough. I'm very intrigued with him as a big shooter in the NBA. And hey, the pressure of shooting with Steph, it doesn't get any easier. But I think that the culture for the Warriors is much different than the Lakers. And we talk about the strengths and weaknesses of Kerr and this stuff. If they could build his confidence as a big body movement shooter, I don't know how you acquire him. And again, if you want to facilitate anything to help the Lakers, but I would be super interested in acquiring Dalton Connect on the low. If you could buy low, and then that would be our first acquisition of this offseason. Maxi Kleber, I liked him 3 years ago. I think his knees are cooked. So I don't know about that if you want to have to take on that contract, but Connect I'd be interested in. And yeah, I'm a little late on the Looney Kerr interview, but that's my thoughts on it. Y'all can call me a Kerr defender, but again, all I can tell you is how I feel. And yeah, man, it sucks to see Loon go, but you get it. I think you get it from both sides. And, you know, I think that he's going to probably end up playing a lot more maybe than anticipated for the Pelicans, not just because of what he brings to the table when he's out there and his leadership, but because they're always in disarray. And he's just going to be like he was for us for so long, that solid guy you could rely on night to night. We'll be back here upcoming this week with hopefully some sort of transactional news. Otherwise, we're going to have to start talking about Clay and Meg again. We're going to have to do something, right? As always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.